So he said this was the big one. That's the reciprocal tariffs that are going to apply to a number of countries now. This is the market right now on Wall Street trading just slightly lower. I mean, really just 0.10%. Okay, come on over here and I'll show you the board about what Trump did yesterday and kind of how the economic world reacted. So the announcement comes right around 2 o'clock and you see the big jump on the Dow. Maybe it stays there, maybe it doesn't. We'll see day by day. The reason this did is because they're not immediate. Maybe they happen in a month or 2 months or 3 months. There was one date thrown out that suggested April 2nd when the tariffs would be enacted here. This is what we talk about when we talk about reciprocal trade, all right? You got two countries, you got two business partners essentially, right? And they're in this deal where they got mutual tariffs, you know, one for the other. They tax each other's goods. But when one feels that the other is not in fair trade, all right, you start to get retaliation, all right? And that's where Trump is at the moment. And then we measure the impact. Will the costs go up? He argues maybe in the short run, but in the long run, he believes more jobs will come back to the country and prices will go lower. That's Trump's argument now on the impact. And now we get to the negotiation stage, which really could happen at any point. Something very interesting here on the world map. I know there's a lot of numbers behind me. Just think about two numbers for the sake of this argument, all right? The deeper the red, the higher the tariff you charge. The lower the color, the lower your number. United States is at 3%. I mean, globally, that's just about as low as you can go. I look at countries like maybe Ethiopia or Iran where you're up around 20%, but look at India. India's at 17%, and just yesterday you had the Prime Minister there visiting the Oval Office, no doubt talking about this. Steve Moore knows it well, and Steve, good morning to you. Trump's making the, well, I'll go ahead and let him make the case about this. Roll it, number soundbite, Raj.
What do you think you'll raise from tariffs on an annual basis?
That's the most interesting question. I think it'll be a staggering amount. It will be the external, I call it the External Revenue Service. That was a name that was devised by a few of us, but I think it's going to be a staggering amount.
So he says short-term prices may go higher. Does that bother you, Steve?
I don't like inflation, and you don't, or nobody likes inflation. But first of all, let me commend you. I thought your analysis was excellent, Bill, about what is being proposed here. You've known me a long time. I'm a free trade guy. I'm a guy who believes low tariffs are a good thing for the United States. But what Trump, and so I don't like, for example, the steel tariffs. I think steel tariffs are a bad idea. But what Trump is talking about here is a brand new kind of paradigm on trade. And he's simply saying, look, as your map shows, Bill, we have the lowest tariffs in the world. So we're down here, and the rest of the world's way up here. And so he's saying to these other countries that have to trade with the United States, because we're the alpha male economy, either you lower your tariffs or we're going to raise our tariffs to your level. Now, that is something that I think Trump is going to win this fight, because I think at the end of the day, Bill, and I'm not certain about this, but I think this is the way this is going to work out, is guess what? China and Japan and the UK and the Europeans with very high tariff rates are going to be forced to lower their tariffs on America, and that will be a good thing for everyone. And incidentally, at the end of the day, if this works out, we will have freer and fairer trade all over the world.
Okay, so we'll see how that goes. I mentioned April 2nd. I mean, that was a date that was put out there by Howard Lutnick, so we'll see if that's the case. And you're right. I mean, honestly, you could start negotiating this weekend with some countries if you wanted to. Wall Street Journal, tariff stress tests, markets rally as he delays reciprocal levies, but they'll be back. And speaking of coming back, Hakeem Jeffries is coming for Trump. He's coming for guys like you, okay? Here's his argument from the Democratic side.
Republicans repeatedly promised to lower the high cost of living in the United States of America. Yet they have failed to do a single thing to lower housing costs, lower grocery costs, lower insurance costs. In fact, inflation is going up under this administration and Republican complete control of government. It's not going down.
So it is mid-February, and we know what the Trump team's saying. They're saying this is Biden's inflation. What's the window, Steve? How much time does the administration have right now?
Well, what Hakeem Jeffries said was truly laughable, because the 3 months, it is true that the inflation rate is creeping up. And I've been saying this for 6 months, Bill, that watch out for inflation. Because, and where did the inflation come from? I want to remind people. The inflation came from the $7 trillion spending spree under Joe Biden. And they printed all this money and deluged the American economy with cheap money, and the prices went through the roof. Now, the last 3 months of the Biden presidency showed that inflation is going up again. Trump wasn't even president, Hakeem Jeffries, when the inflation went up. You're talking about what happened under Biden, not Trump. Now, I believe there's a reason they call economists like myself, Bill, a supply sider, like you have, you have Arthur Laffer and Larry Kudlow and others. We want to increase the productive capacity of the United States so we produce more goods and services so prices will fall. Now, think about this. We're going to cut taxes. That's going to increase production. We're going to produce more oil and gas and coal and nuclear power. That's going to reduce energy prices. We're going to deregulate the economy. All those things are going to bring inflation down, not up. And we know that's going to work because it worked in Trump's first term when the average inflation rate was 1.9%, not 9% like we had under Biden.
All right, next time we'll get Hakeem Jeffries on with you, and we'll go toe-to-toe.
Let's do it. I'm ready to rumble.
You got it. Steve Moore, thank you for coming on today. Appreciate that. Have a good weekend, all right? Thanks.